The medical bay of the Wandering Star had never been so crowded. Tala pressed her massive, furred body against the doorframe, her amber eyes fixed on the human medic, who stood calmly amid what could only be described as controlled chaos. 17 members of her pack warriors, hunters, and even the elders filled every available space, all claiming various states of swelling that desperately required the human's miraculous frozen treatment. It had started 3 cycles ago when Bryn, Tala's youngest cub, had taken a tumble during combat training. The little one had crashed shoulder first into the sparring dummy, and the yelp that followed brought Tala running faster than she'd moved in years. Bryn sat on the mat, cradling his shoulder, tears streaming down his whiskered face. The human medic, Dr. Sarah Chen, had appeared within moments. Tala remembered watching with suspicion as the small, seemingly fragile creature approached her injured cub. Humans were new to the coalition, and their reputation preceded them, reckless, inventive, and impossibly stubborn. But they were also known for their medical prowess, even if their methods seemed bizarre. "May I?" Dr. Chen had asked, her voice gentle despite the universal translator's mechanical edge. Tala had nodded, positioning herself protectively behind Bryn. What happened next defied all of Tala's understanding of proper medical treatment. Dr. Chen retrieved a soft, flexible pouch from her kit, a pouch that somehow generated cold. Not the bitter, dangerous cold of space, but a soothing, controlled chill that seemed almost alive in its precision. She wrapped it in a thin cloth and pressed it against Bryn's shoulder. "Ice pack," Dr. Chen explained. "Reduces inflammation, numbs pain, prevents swelling." Bryn's crying stopped almost immediately. His eyes widened and a small, contented rumble emerged from his chest, the Kraveshi equivalent of a purr. Within 10 minutes, Bryn was moving his shoulder freely, the pain visibly diminished. Within an hour, he was begging to return to training. Tala had watched this transformation with growing amazement. Her people's medicine relied on regenerative serums and cellular accelerators, effective but slow, often requiring days of rest. This human method worked almost instantly for minor injuries. Word spread through the pack like wildfire. Now, 3 days later, Tala surveyed the absurd scene before her. Kresh, her second-in-command and a warrior who once fought off 6 Dorvian raiders single-handedly, sat on an examination table insisting his elbow was definitely swelling, despite appearing completely normal. Behind him, old Marek claimed his knee, which had been stiff for 20 years, was suddenly in desperate need of frozen intervention. "Dr. Chen," Tala rumbled, her voice carrying the weight of both authority and embarrassment. "I apologize for my pack's behavior." The human looked up from examining Kresh's perfectly healthy elbow, and to Tala's surprise, she was smiling. Not the polite, diplomatic smile Tala had seen humans use in formal settings, but a genuine expression of amusement. "It's all right, Alpha Tala," Dr. Chen said. "I've seen this before." "You have?" Tala's ears perked forward in surprise. "Oh yes. Back on Earth, when I worked at a children's clinic, we had the same problem. One kid gets a colorful band-aid, and suddenly every child in the waiting room discovers a previously unnoticed injury." Dr. Chen gently manipulated Kresh's elbow, and the massive warrior actually giggled, a sound Tala never thought she'd hear from him. "The ice pack is effective, but I think the real appeal is the attention and novelty." Tala felt her throat tighten with an emotion she couldn't quite name. The human understood. More than that, she wasn't offended by what could be seen as manipulation or time-wasting. She saw her pack the way Tala did, not as fearsome warriors or dangerous predators, but as people seeking comfort. "However," Dr. Chen continued, standing to address the entire room, "I have a limited supply of ice packs, and they take time to refreeze. So here's what we're going to do." She reached into her kit and pulled out several more pouches, these ones empty and flaccid. "I'm going to teach anyone interested how to make improvised cold compresses using materials from the ship's stores. Water, sealable bags, and access to a freezer. The chemistry is simple." The pack members leaned forward as one, their attention completely captured. Over the next hour, Dr. Chen ran an impromptu class in the medical bay. She explained the science of cold therapy, how it constricted blood vessels, reduced metabolic activity at the injury site, and decreased nerve transmission of pain signals. She demonstrated the proper application time, the importance of never applying ice directly to skin, and when cold therapy was appropriate versus when heat was needed. Tala watched her warriors and hunters beings, who could tear through reinforced hull plating with their claws, carefully filling bags with water and sealing them with the concentration of cubs learning their first hunt. Bryn sat beside Dr. Chen, proudly explaining his experience as the first patient to anyone who would listen. "Your people," Tala said quietly, moving to stand beside the human medic, "are remarkable." Dr. Chan glanced up at the Alpha, who towered over her by nearly 3 feet. "We're persistent learners. And we understand that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. Humans spent thousands of years treating injuries with nothing but cold water, pressure, and elevation before we invented advanced medicine. These fundamentals still work." "It's more than that," Tala said. "You saw my pack members acting like cubs, and you didn't dismiss them or mock them. You met them where they were." "Well," Dr. Chun smiled again. That warm expression that Tala was beginning to associate with human compassion. Everyone deserves to feel cared for, regardless of how tough they are in battle. Sometimes a little cold compress and some attention does more healing than any advanced medicine could. Kresh approached them, carefully carrying his newly made ice pack like it was precious cargo. "Dr. Chun, is this acceptable?" The human inspected it, nodded approvingly, and Kresh's tail wagged slightly, another first Tala had witnessed today. As the pack members filed out with their new knowledge and homemade cold packs, chattering excitedly about freezing times and optimal application techniques, Bryn tugged on Tala's arm. "Mama, can Dr. Chun stay with us forever?" Tala looked down at her cub, then across at the human who was already reorganizing her medical supplies with efficient precision. "I think," Tala said softly, "we should certainly try to convince her."